What do you think of the festival?
Well, I enjoyed it so far.
Yeah.
I was pleased to find out that so many people responded to the material, you know, and so many people understood what I was saying. I wasn't sure that people would even speak English. You know? And if you don't understand the words of my songs, there's not much to like about the show because I certainly am not a singer or a musician, you know, but they responded well.
Yeah. So that's a different kind of audience to what you're used to?
Well, I've found that the younger the audiences I play for, usually the more receptive they are to, even if they don't know the songs, they're more receptive to, they're probably more liberal than old people who are more conservative, you know, and they're more open to the ideas that I'm talking about. So I was pleased to see that.
Yeah.
I started performing at the Newport Folk Festival when Johnny Cash put me on his show, and that got my whole performing career started. Other festivals, you know, asked me to come play. So it's really like kind of going back to where I started when I was playing by myself, when I didn't have a band, and it's working. It seems to work.
Yeah. You play the Isle of Wight and all that as well. So
yeah, that was insane.
Yeah.
That was like my third gig, and my band was very new, and they were as inexperienced as I was, and there were about 500,000 people there, and they didn't necessarily like us. There was all kind of noise going on, and they couldn't hear us, you know, and it was a strange experience to have people throwing beer cans at you. But they hated everybody at that festival. They were burning down the concession stands and the trucks, and they hated Jimi Hendrix, you know. And the only guy they didn't hate was Leonard Cohen. He did very well there.
That's strange.
It was strange. I love Leonard, but I thought they were going to kill him because they had been so shitty to you know, to Jimmy. He never did get him going, and by the time they got to Leonard, it was like 4 in the morning on the last day, and they were burning down the concession stands and tearing the walls down, and they all wanted a free concert, which was unreasonable because there had a lot of people there that they were paying, not me, but a lot of people. And my guitarist, Zal Yanofsky, and I stayed up to hear Leonard, and he came out of his dressing room in his pajamas with a raincoat on, and it took 20 minutes on the stage just tuning up. I thought, they're going to kill him. And he charmed the beast. He for whatever reason, you know, they listened to him, they loved him. I said to my guitar player, to Zal, I said, you know, that's the kind of, he had these few real tasty Nashville musicians backing him up. I said, that's the kind of backing I would like to have, you know, the kind of support. And Zal said, boss, Leonard is an angst poet, and you're an alcoholic. so that was his interpretation of what happened. Yeah, he used to play with, you know, the Lovin' Spoonful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was quite a guy.
In 1996, he did a kind of duet thing with Kelly Deal from Breeders on the Twisted Willie. You know, it's a compilation with you're doing.
Oh, geez, yeah, I just.
You remember that?
Yeah, and he wasn't there.
No.
I just the guy who was producing it put it together. I didn't understand that record at all.
It was like a sewing machine.
Yes,
going in the back.
Yeah, it was. I never did understand what they were trying to do on that. And I did it because I love Willie, you know, and I assumed that he wanted that to be done, but I had a couple of records that alternative musicians made of some songs of mine recently that was about the same thing. I didn't understand one of them. I didn't understand what they were doing. They didn't sing the tunes or the words that I wrote. You know, it was.
Another thing. Do you have a big record collection at home, or do you just is it the radio or?
I don't listen.
Records?
I don't listen a lot. I listen to you know the old guys that I like Dylan and John Prine and a few new artists that I run into every now and then. There's a guy named Paul Thorne I just heard about that he's really good, and Sean Mullins and some people who have sent me some stuff, John Flynn, but generally singer-songwriters, you know, that I don't listen to a whole lot of music. Ever since I started out on the road, I got bombarded with so much material from other people that it was influencing my writing. You know, it was either keeping me from writing or I might unconsciously lift something from somebody else, and I didn't want to do that. So I got in the habit of not listening.
Question: what's the worst song you ever heard? Instead of the best song, the worst song.
Of my own?
No, whatever.
You know, I couldn't even tell you. I can't. I've heard a lot of bad ones. I remember a guy singing me a song one time when I was sick. I was working at a club called The Quiet Night, and I was thrown up in the bathroom into the toilet, and this guy was singing me a song that he wrote about his mother dying, you know, and I don't know if it was the worst song, but it sounded worse to me than anything I'd ever heard.
And well, at that state as well, that couldn't have helped.
Well, yeah, it was, but it was. If you ever want to pitch a song to somebody, don't do it while he's puking in the toilet. You know?
So who are your heroes?
Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan for what he did to music and respect for songwriters and for country music. Same for John, and for Johnny Cash for what he did for people everywhere. You know, for Native Americans, prisoners, and the underdogs. Muhammad Ali for the courage he had to stand up against the entire government, you know, and having his 3 of the best years of his life taken away from him when they took his title away because he wouldn't go to Vietnam and wouldn't fight in a war that he didn't believe in. And I love him anyway. He's a wonderful person. Heroes, live or dead? I don't know.
Ingmar Bergman?
Ingmar Bergman and Fellini are probably the two my heroes as far as directors, creative people. I think Ingmar Bergman is the closest thing to Shakespeare walking around today. You know, I think he was a genius.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Are they running you out of here already?